Hi, everyone. Welcome to Atolo's Lobby Talks. This is our twice-a-week show where we bring in characters from right around the hospitality industry, the world of hotels, restaurants, events, and the supply chain. And we showcase the kind of exciting careers that are happening every day in hospitality, celebrating what a wonderful and diverse industry this is. We've met people from right around the industry. It goes without saying that we would love people to join Atolo at myatolo.com. It's a completely free community where we try and help people find their tribe. What are you passionate about? Come and share, meet mentors, meet peers, and gain some new ideas and collaborate. We're also launching our global mentoring pledge. We've got nearly £200,000 worth of mentoring time already pledged for 2022 from over 40 different organizations. Head to myatolo.com/mentors to find out a bit more if you want to give back to the industry, hone some leadership skills, and get your business involved in something quite exciting. Anyway, enough about Atolo. Want to welcome Cat to the show. Cat Pengelley, kind of founder of the Nerdy Hotelier and hotelier extraordinaire. Welcome to the show, Cat.
Thanks, James. Excited to be here.
No, great to have you here. Look, I know you're familiar with the Lobby Talks format now, so we're going to be finding out all about you. But, you know, it's a bit old school to be meeting in home offices. So we're meeting in a virtual lobby of your choice. Where have you taken us for today's Lobby Talks?
So I have taken us to Vienna, Austria, to Hotel Imperial, or otherwise known as Imperial Vienna. And this is an absolutely gorgeous lobby, 19th century, Viennese elegance, so much marbles. A lot of the stuff that I get really nerdy about, you know, hand-carved statues, massive crystal chandeliers. And the thing that really made me pick this one, being such a nerdy hotelier and being so obsessed with everything hotels, is actually 2 years ago, I walked past the front door of this hotel, and this is right on the other side of it, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm so disappointed.
But isn't that just the way with hotels, though? These really unassuming front buildings so many times, especially in traditional city centres. And behind the scenes, there are these hundreds of millions of pounds that have been spent on just some phenomenal buildings that really are landmarks in their own right, which is brilliant. So am I right? I think you've never been to this lobby.
I've never been to this lobby. I've never been to this lobby. I actually discovered the hotel when I was writing my most recent blog about hotel staircases. Yeah. And if anyone wants to see an impressive staircase, please look up Hotel Imperial Vienna's staircase. It's amazing. Very much like this lobby, very grand and gorgeous. But, you know, when I looked up where it was, I was like, I've walked down that street. I'm pretty sure I've walked past that front door, and I'm just so disappointed that I never even realized it was a hotel at the time to pop my head in and see this gorgeous lobby. So next time I'm back in Vienna, it's on my bucket list to see.
Brilliant. Well, look, I think about hotel nerds like us is we constantly suffer from this FOMO, don't we? We're like,
yes.
Like, if I'm going to go to this city once, I want to make sure I've ticked off as much as possible in case I ever need to talk about it on a podcast in the future. I remember first time I went to Chicago on a work trip. I went to every single hotel I could find in Chicago because I always wanted to be able to come back and talk about this is what different brands are doing. This is what the lobbies feel like. I think you either got it or you haven't you? That kind of nerdiness for the industry.
Absolutely, completely agree.
Sounds good. Well, look, we really want to get to know you a bit better, Kat. Obviously, mentoring at Atolo is kind of just a small part of what you do. Our first section is called Career in 60 Seconds. Feeling you're up for the challenge? Can you give us the highlights in that amount of time?
I am up for the challenge, and I'm going to do my very best to keep this within 60 seconds.
All yours.
Wonderful. So about 13 years ago, I decided I wanted to be a chef. And so I started my career in kitchens. But after about a year, I realized that as much as I loved cooking amazing food, I loved the rush of the line, I really missed that human interaction element of it. So in addition to cooking, I worked through my ways through all roles in the front of house and started a hospitality management diploma in restaurant and hotel management. After doing that for a little while, fell in love with hotels. I cannot tell you when that switch was, but my brain completely flipped from chefing in restaurants to hotel management. So I continued my education and graduated with a degree in international hotel management from a university in Canada. And from there, did 2 years in the Rocky Mountains with Fairmont Hotels and Resorts, which was amazing. But after that 2 years, I had been long distance with my partner for a couple of years, and we had decided that we wanted to do something big, something different, somewhere we had never been before. So we up and moved. Myself, my now fiance, and the cat moved to England, which was amazing. We had never been here before, never been to Europe, but knew we would love it, and we have so far. My first 2 years in the UK was following my passion for relationship building in hotels, working through multiple sales roles. And as I'm sure you can see where this is going, it came to a very abrupt halt in March 2020 when unfortunately COVID hit. And within a couple of months later, I was made redundant. As interesting as the last 2 years have been, it's been really rewarding for me as the pandemic kind of gave me the opportunity to do something that I never would have considered, and that's being a freelancer, self-employed. So for the last year and a half, I've been freelancing in marketing and PR as well as virtual events. And I've kept my toes in the industry, in the hospitality industry, through my blog, The Nerdy Hotelier, which I launched at the same time. And here I am now.
Very cool. I love it. Well, look, loads we can definitely explore, later on in the show. But I just have one question for now. How easy was it when you realized one bit of hospitality wasn't for you, this world of chefing? How easy was it to switch to something else? Because it's kind of like 100 industries in one sometimes, hospitality.
You are completely getting to the very end in the guest book part of the show, because that's one of the things I want to talk about. It was a difficult decision to make, but I will say that the industry and the companies that I worked with were incredibly supportive. As you've said, it's 100 industries in one, and I know people that have gone from chefing to finance and revenue management within the same hotel property. So I think the industry itself is just so diverse in those roles that you really do have the opportunity to get into it and then, work through finding where's the right place for you.
All right, cool. Well, look, let's not give away the answers quite yet then. Brilliant. Look, so our next section is called Good Day, Bad Day.
Yes.
We love to showcase the highs and lows of life in hospitality because it's just so varied. Take us through some of your highs and lows.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have two really great examples, one for each. So my great day, and to this day, I still think it's one of my favorite guest moments in the industry. It was when I was working at the Sutton Place Hotel as a front desk agent in Vancouver. And my colleague, who was also on the front desk that day, she received a phone call. And the phone call was the mother of a 10-year-old girl. And she let us know that they were coming to stay at the hotel that evening. And all this 10-year-old girl, her name was Cadence, all this 10-year-old girl wanted for her birthday was to be a princess. She wanted to be treated like a princess. She wanted to be Cinderella, like all the movies that she had seen. And so she told my colleague, so she's been doing chores all morning. And I was like, and when my colleague told me this, I was like, they have this poor 10-year-old girl doing chores all morning. But her mom had said, well, she wanted to be Cinderella. And what the girl didn't know was that her grandma, who's dressed up as her fairy godmother in a limousine, was coming to pick her up and take her to the castle, which was the hotel that I was working at. And the mother's request for the team at the front desk was to welcome her as Princess Cadence when we saw a tiny little girl dressed up as a princess. And my colleague had said, oh, I don't have time to be on the lookout for this girl. This seems like a lot of effort. And I was like, a lot of effort? This seems like the best part of my day. I'm so excited. And so, I talked to my manager and he let me run around the hotel for 5 minutes. And I told every department, I told the concierge, the restaurant, the valets. I told everyone, I was like, there's going to be a little girl arriving in a limo dressed as a princess. And we are to only refer to her as Princess Cadence. And, I got the whole front of house team on board. And when the limo arrived, I saw the limo pull up and I ran outside, and me and the guys that were out there, the valets, Princess Cadence got out of her car and we all got down on one knee and we bowed to her and we said, welcome, Princess Cadence, to your castle. And this little girl just burst into tears. It was slightly overwhelming, but she was like, how did you know I'm a princess? I only became a princess an hour ago. And we said, Princess Cadence, we have been awaiting your arrival for 10 years, and she was so excited. I paraded her around the hotel and introduced her to everyone, and everyone was bowing to her and curtsying if they were wearing a dress. And, I received a letter from the mom afterwards, just saying, that this 10-year-old girl is never going to forget that birthday for the rest of her life. We truly made her feel like the princess that she wanted to be after doing a whole morning of chores. So to me, that's something that's really kind of sat with me, that relationship building, that making people's experiences, not just to stay at a hotel. And that's really kind of sat with me as one of my best days in the industry so far.
I absolutely love that. And I think it's so true, isn't it? Like, unless you can get behind creating these experiences, and obviously you had a great opportunity there, you were kind of pre-wired and you had the time and you made it happen.
Yeah.
If you don't have all that time, we have all of these micro moments, don't we, where we can always make someone stay brilliant, especially kids, and the way to parents are is definitely through the kids. It's pretty simple. I think my kids always got ridiculously excited about like soft toys or just someone chatting to them instead of mum and dad. These little moments that just make hospitality experiences. And what a great way to breed the next generation of hotels, GMs and operators. It's like, I'm sure that girl will work in hotels one day.
Oh yeah, she's definitely going to come back and be like, I'm going to do what that one random girl that I met one day on my 10th birthday did for me. And that's what I hope, with being able to create those experiences. I hope that everyone I touch and, that enjoys the stay that I've helped create for them, they feel that way too.
Brilliant. Love that. She's probably working at Disneyland right now.
Yeah.
So brilliant. Obviously, it's not always a great day. Maybe take us through some of the tough times.
Yes. Okay. So this is probably my worst day so far, and it's a bit of a long-winded story. So hold tight. It will all come together in the end. It was at the same hotel, same position, working front desk, but I was quite new. I had only been there about 3 months. And we had some guests from Japan coming to check in, and their flight had arrived quite early, middle of the summer in Vancouver. Unfortunately, early check-in is a very rare thing to find. But, we told them we would store their luggage. If they wanted to use the spa, go for a walk, etc., we'd call them when the room was ready. So as some people that may have worked front desk might know, when you do a pre-check-in, you get them all registered, you make their keys and you put their keys in the not ready section at the front desk. And the bellman had given me their ticket for their luggage, which we usually put with the keys so we know which room it goes to in the end. Now, this is something that no one on my team at the time will ever do again. But I had written the room number on the ticket, even though that room was not ready yet. So room became ready a few hours later. I called the guests, let them know, sent the luggage to the room, etc. About 5 or so hours go by, it's evening now, and the guests come back down and they say, oh, our luggage hasn't arrived yet. And I was like, oh, that's so odd. I'm pretty sure I sent it up to the room a few hours ago. Checked with the bellman. They had sent it to the room, checked here, checked there. The luggage is completely gone. Absolutely no idea where it is. And unfortunately for us as well, these Japanese tourists were stopping over in Vancouver for just a few days on their way to Hawaii. And they had left their passports, their credit cards, all their travel documents, their, everything that they own other than their phones were in these bags. The longest story short is it took us about 4 days to find their luggage.
Oh my goodness.
What had happened was that room that they were pre-registered to go into was a late checkout, in which I was not aware of. And the housekeeping had gone in the morning, tidied up the room, and the room was a part of a wedding party. So the wedding party had gone out for the day. Everyone on the wedding party had kind of packed their luggage, stuffed it in a corner. Housekeeping had gone in, tidied up the room. So when the bellman went up to go drop off this luggage, he looked at a clean, perfectly presentable room and assumed the room was clean. So he dropped off the luggage. About an hour later, the wedding party comes back to pick up all their luggage, and they send 2 gentlemen with a cart to go collect the luggage from each and every room. So when the 2 gentlemen get to this room, which is not their room, they just assume all the bags in the room belong to the wedding party. So they take the bags, pack it all up, pack it in the back of the car, and drive away. So once we realized that, we were like, great. Well, so the passports of these lovely Japanese tourists are now who knows where in the back of someone's truck. Which was quite stressful, as you can imagine. And after this all kind of started unfolding, we had to host the Japanese tourists at the hotel for all their meals, comp their stay, deal with the Japanese embassy to try and get them new passports, check them in their hotel in Hawaii and pay for the nights that they were missing, change their flights, all of this kind of stuff. And I called my mom on the way home from work the day after, which is the day that we kind of figured out what had happened. And I called my mom, who had worked in hotels for quite a while, and I told her the situation. And I said, what do you think is going to happen? And she said to me very gently, she said, "Oh, sweetheart, you're going to be fired." And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I think. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. But we eventually were able to get in contact with the bride of the wedding, of the wedding party. And they had said, oh, yes, actually, we had driven to wine country, which is about 6 hours from Vancouver. We do have these 2 bags that don't belong to us. We've checked with everyone. So we had sent a taxi to pick it up and drive the 6 hours back to Vancouver and then back to where they came from to get these ladies their luggage. And I think all in all, it cost the hotel upwards of about 16 grand for everything that happened, dealing with the embassy, the flights, the comping of the hotels, buying them new clothes, feeding them, all this kind of stuff. And my manager sat me down after it was sorted. And I was like, so do you want me to finish my shift or should I just go home? And he said, we're going to let you off with a written warning. And I was like, actually, this is the most exciting. It's like, this is the most exciting thing you could have said to me. And he said, the only reason why you're not being fired is everyone writes the room number on the luggage ticket. Everyone puts it with the keys, but usually the bellman would either notice a dirty room or the guests in the room would notice that it's not their luggage. So unfortunately, you were just incredibly unlucky with the situation. So the longest story short is I did not get fired. Every time these 2 Japanese ladies walked through the lobby, I was terrified of them. I just ran. I just hid behind the desk because I didn't want to see them. Because I was 3 months in, I was truly, truly believed that I was going to be fired. And that was the worst thing that could have happened to me. And the whole situation took about 5 days, I think, in total to sort out. So, it was a big thing for the hotel. But I will say myself and the rest of my team that was working with me at that time will never write a room number on a ticket before the room is ready.
There you go. A whole new process you've developed and just make sure that does not happen again. I love how brutally honest your mum was, though. I mean, why not? No softening the blow there. Let's just absolutely sort that out. I thought you were going to say the bride and was impersonating a Japanese couple out in Hawaii. I was like, actually, that's a pretty sweet way. Wait a minute, this is a lovely gift from the hotel. Got a whole new bag of stuff that doesn't quite fit, but we got some tickets and we got some money ready to go to Hawaii. So
I'm just very lucky that they got their stuff back, because it really could have been worse. We had no idea where that stuff was for days, which is crazy. But all worked out in the end. They just unfortunately missed a few days in Hawaii and had a very interesting, memorable experience in Vancouver.
I think it is the hotel industry continues to astound me, because if you think about any one hotel, there's probably 10,000 moving things every single day, right? Luggage and guests and bits of paperwork. And you just think, how easy is it for one thing to go wrong and it just blow up these huge, as you say, problems that take weeks and tens of thousands of pounds to fix. So fair play. Well, look, I guess after that, you must have known that problem solving and fixing problems was in your DNA.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff. Great story, Kat. Great story. So look, our next section's Last Day on Earth, and we're definitely not morbid here at Tolo, but we love to kind of hear, actually, what's the best hospitality? Where would people stay and eat, and what people do in that last 24 hours of hospitality moments in people's lives? So we'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've kind of broken it down into 3 sections. Hope that's okay. So I have the hotel that if it was my last day on earth, I would like to stay in. And I think this is a bit different than I think other people would pick, but I'm a big lover of the outdoors and nature. And one of the places I've always wanted to go is Indonesia and the Philippines. And I don't care which hotel it is, but I would really love to stay in one of those influencer tree houses, at the top of the trees with the amazing views over the islands and the ocean, and the private pool. They have those floating trays that come out with all your food in the pool. That is absolutely where I would stay on my last day on Earth. The top of a trees in Indonesia or the Philippines, wherever it is, just a beautiful, beautiful view of nature as it is.
Yeah. Sounds awesome. And be honest, Kat, it's one of the reasons why you're becoming a bit of a hotel influencer, because you're just waiting for these phone calls. But like, hey, Kat, you'd be perfect. Come and do a blog on our hotel. Like I would
love to become a hotel influencer who just got, free stuff all the time. I'm always really jealous of, the lovely people, the travel influencers that I follow. And, they're running around in the Maldives and they're swimming with sharks and stingrays and going on all these tours. And they're like, haha, it was for free. And I'm like, I'm so jealous. Yeah. That sounds amazing.
What we'll do, we'll ping me a couple of names afterwards. We'll tag them when we send out this event and when we write up the blog. And then you never know. The next phone call you get could be from a luxury resort in Indonesia.
I'm perfectly okay with that. I will definitely send you some options.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, that sounds like an amazing place to stay.
Yeah.
Let's talk food. What restaurant? Right. Where would you eat?
So I can't remember the specific name of the restaurant, but I'm a huge lover of steak. I absolutely love a nice, juicy, rare to medium rare steak. And we used to go to Seattle every year for me and my fiance's anniversary. And there was this one steakhouse that we went to where we got a 90-ounce steak. So it was literally just like one huge chunk of meat that consisted of 2 fillets, 2 sirloins, and 1 T-bone steak. And I told my fiance, I was like, I'm sorry, this is actually mine. You're going to have to order your own. And I sat there and I ate like nothing else, no sides, no drinks. I just ate 90 ounces of steak.
A woman on a mission there.
It was so good. I was like uncomfortably full by the end of it. We're in like this really nice steakhouse and I'm sitting there like, can't breathe. But I was determined to finish the whole thing. And it was amazing. It came out on like a sizzling butter skillet and it was just so perfectly cooked. And to this day, I have never had a better steak. It was amazing.
And I feel like this is one of those things where maybe, you should have got the meal for free, right? Kind of one of those competitions where like if you clear your plates, you don't have to pay. But maybe the restaurant was a little bit too nice for that.
Yeah, I think they were slightly a little bit too nice for that. It was our anniversary dinner, so we had gone out to like a nice steakhouse. It's unfortunate that I can't remember the name, because every single year we went to a different steakhouse. So I've been to quite a few in Seattle.
But this was the one. This is the one that's on everyone's list.
It was so amazing. We had actually, funny enough, we had a little side story. I'll make it quick. We had decided to go back to that same restaurant one year, and I was so excited that when we got to the Fairmont, because we were staying on a friends and family rate, we got half price food and beverage, and it was also happy hour. And I just had this odd confidence. I told my fiance, I was like, I'm going to drink more martinis than you before dinner. And I am the lightweight of the relationship. I'll tell you that. So, about an hour before dinner, I was actually being put to bed with a pillow and a blanket on the floor of our hotel room bathroom. And I crawled out of the bathroom at about 1 o'clock in the morning and I said, have I missed dinner? And he said, oh, sweetheart, you've absolutely missed dinner. Yeah. And so unfortunately, I've only had it once, even though we did try and go back and have it a second time. But
that sounds like one of those lessons that you learn. You have to learn have to learn it the hard way. What's my capacity, and when is my night over? You learn that.
Yes, yeah. And martinis is not the way for me to go.
That makes sense. And so, genuine question: have you found a decent steak place in London? Because I know a lot of the time people come over from Canada or the US, they're like, oh, British steaks are not the same, but the steak scene's getting better, right? Just wondered if you'd seen anywhere that you'd recommend in town.
Yeah, I will say the London steak scene is nothing like the North American steak scene. You're completely right on that. We've been to a few nice steak restaurants, but the one that I love the most is actually Flatiron. I don't know if you've been to a Flatiron in London. They're cheap. The steaks are great. When you arrive, they give you popcorn. It's much more, it's not really, a fancy steakhouse. It's just a nice place that you can go, after a show or on a night out. And it's affordable, but they make really, really nice steaks.
Perfect. There you go. You heard it here first. And I appreciate that. And then kind of last day on earth, I guess, how did you spend your time? What would you do in that last day?
So last day, so I was thinking about this one really hard because I was thinking, is there an event I want to go to, a concert, a sports match? But, as much as I love, being in the outdoors, one of the things that I very much know about myself is I'm a huge adrenaline junkie.
Okay.
I love, I've been bungee jumping a few times. I love, when we go hiking, standing on the edge of cliffs for those photos. And I've always wanted to go skydiving. So if I haven't been at the point where I know it's my last 24 hours on Earth, I will absolutely be skydiving, and ideally in a really cool place like South Africa or on an island somewhere where the views are just spectacular.
Love it. At that point, no safety needed, nothing to lose.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the point too. It's, maybe I'll just free jump, no parachute.
Maybe we should live every day as if it's our last anyway.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly.
All right. All good. Great answers there. So look, our last section, moving swiftly on, is called the guest book. So, when you leave a hotel, always leave some traditional old reviews or go online and hopefully not slate it. But what's your words of wisdom? What would you share about your time in hospitality with others in the industry?
Yeah, well, kind of as we touched on earlier, the hospitality industry is incredibly diverse. And I don't just mean the people that you work with, the cultures that you experience, where in the world, but as we mentioned before, the roles, there's hundreds of roles and sub-industries available to you where you can tie multiple passions together in one. As I mentioned, I know someone who's a chef who, as much as he loved cooking, didn't want to do that his whole life and went into revenue and finance at the same property. I went from chefing to now sales. And in between that, I did front of house operations, food and beverage, front office, and a bit of rooms, housekeeping as well. So, what I really love and what I'd love to leave for, students in the industry, young professionals, give hospitality a shot. It's an amazing, amazing place to work. And even if that first role doesn't fit for you, there are so many opportunities at the hotel that you work at the catering company you work at, wherever you are. This industry has opportunities for anyone, anywhere, and the ability to take those transferable skills around the world with you, I think is a huge plus for the industry, the fact that you can do these roles anywhere in the world and continue to live your passions, which I think is really important.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, obviously preaching to the converted here, but I 100% agree that everyone should try hospitality and kind of carve their path through it. I suppose I've really enjoyed your Nerdy Hotelier blogs for the last kind of couple of years as well. And I'm conscious that it's been a really rocky ride for anyone in hospitality. Maybe you could take us through a little bit around what gave you that get up and go to do something a bit different, when kind of get hit in the face with adversity. What made you think there's a different path here? And what are some of the things you've got out of that, what I'm sure will soon be a side hustle for you alongside your job, but really keen to hear a bit more about that.
Yeah. So, I had always wanted to write a blog when I was in university. There's so much stuff that you learn. There's so many assignments that you do that are specific and relevant to the industry. And I had always thought to myself that I had wanted to turn those assignments into blogs that people could, learn a little bit more about the industry. I never got around to doing it. University was a lot more overwhelming than I expected.
Right.
But when we came into the pandemic and I had a little bit more time on my hands, I said, you know what? I would love to be able to express my passion for the industry to those that understand it, those hotel nerds, like you said, that we're both hotel nerds, as well as to kind of share my passion a little bit with those that might not understand it. My tagline is "Get nerdy with me," because I want people to get excited about weird things that I get excited about hotels. And I feel like for each person, there's always something different that gets them excited and helps them find their passion. But I'm hoping that by sharing this blog, this Nerdy Hotelier blog, where I talk about literally anything from staircases to bathrooms to wallpaper, and my favorite hotels that express these things, that there will be a few people that say, oh, that's actually quite interesting. Or I didn't know hotels were so, I didn't know a hotel staircase could be that detailed or have that much history behind it. And so that's kind of what I hope to accomplish with my blog, is to share my passion and hopefully be able to get people to have that passion for hotels as well.
Love it. No, I think that sounds great. Look, I think one of the amazing things about this industry is just how many jobs there are to be done. You know, hotels are big companies. One hotel can employ hundreds of people and drive kind of hundreds of millions of pounds of revenue. And it's really interesting seeing all the different roles it takes. You know, I've been to sessions where people have talked about the smell strategy and how you kind of deliver on. So all of these different elements, you know, you need designers and architects and builders. You need this whole space, and then really drawing it back to, well, actually, how does that affect the kind of person we get through the door and the way they might spend their money? So love the fact that you're out there kind of championing it. And we do get geeky about hotels. Look at all the TV programs that are taking off, not just on chefs, but now on travel and hotels as well. I think the more that we can talk about it and really encourage people to come and dip their toe in working in the industry, the more diverse and stronger we'll be through the recovery, but for all of time. So glad we share that.
I agree.
Look, we always promise to keep this nice and tight, and we've already gone over. No surprise, there's absolutely tons of stuff we could talk about, Kat, but unfortunately we've reached the end of our time, and it's checkout time. So look, I loved your lessons on, you know, trying different aspects of your career, on having a side hustle, on frankly just getting excited about whatever you're working on. You know, really throw yourself into it, whether it's kind of helping young princesses or starting blogs. You clearly have that attitude of going above and beyond and making it work. And I know it's going to be an absolutely brilliant next few years for you. So can't wait to watch you rise. In the meantime, massive thank you for obviously mentoring with Atollo and everything you do. We're back on Thursday with Matt Willard from IHG. Matt leads finance and insights and has a wealth of knowledge since joining the industry about 12 years ago. He's worked right across Europe with hoteliers and brand teams and has a wealth of knowledge to share on the inside workings of big hotel companies like IHG. So really excited to chat to Matt. But for now, Kat, thank you so much for your time. It's been fab. And everyone, whether you're watching live or on catch up, you know, thanks for joining us and have a safe week. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, everyone.